So, hi, we are here in the BC Club in Ilmenau with the guys from The Anatomy of Friend. Maybe you just want to introduce yourself.
Sure, I'm Max. I play the drums, among other things, and the banjo and the guitar and the glockenspiel, and I sing.
Jimmy, I play the keyboards.
I'm Kyle. I play guitar and sing.
Great. And how was the trip to Ilmenau?
Oh, the trip was great. Yeah, it's where were we last night? We were up in Kiel. It's just every time we come to Europe, it's nice. We're either, if we're not on trains, we're kind of driving, and the Autobahn is very easy. The rules are very clear. You stay right. If you're in the left lane, you go really fast. And if you see a car like on the horizon behind you, they may catch up to you in about like 15 seconds. It's really fun.
So you are the third time in Ilmenau and also in Germany. How you liked it, or how you like Germany or Ilmenau?
Germany is like the best place to play in Europe. Well, I hesitate to say that because now everyone else is gonna not treat us as well. But yeah, Germany is like one of the best places to play. People here really love music and they're really nice to us. They treat us really well, and it's fun to drive around on the Autobahn, so that's always nice.
So I was really excited when I heard that you guys coming here in Ilmenau, because the whole crew was so excited to hear that you're just playing here in the BC Club, and it's an honor to see you now live. And you just want to make for every continent one album and want to produce this on the continent. So why you just want to make it? Or
Yeah, I mean, so how did I get the idea?
Yes.
I guess I was in high school and I got really obsessed with Antarctica, and so I tried to kind of explain to my friends why I thought Antarctica was awesome and why I wanted to go there, and I wanted to be cold and I wanted to be lonely and dark, but I couldn't really I couldn't translate that to anyone. And so I started writing these songs, and the songs kind of expressed this feeling that I couldn't say with words, this kind of dark loneliness. And then I got obsessed with Sri Lanka, and then I got obsessed with Canada and the Arctic, and it just naturally turned into this goal where I wanted to record an album on every continent. And luckily I found two other guys who want to do it with me.
And how old were you when you wrote your first song, and what was the song about?
Oh, this is good. I was 14 years old. It was called Call of the Evergreen, and it was about trees coming to life and killing a hunter.
It's a great song.
They're killing a hunter but he was also someone who cut down trees,
right,
and they were taking revenge on him.
A lot of metaphors there.
Mark Wahlberg in The Happening.
It was Mark Wahlberg in The Happening. You guys have never heard the song, but you never will either.
so they get karma, or they just...
Yeah, they become sentient beings and kill the humans.
So you have or had a huge Wanderlust, I don't know how to pronounce it because it's German, and I just was thinking Wanderlust. And so...
We've stolen this word.
Yeah. And so you just were sitting in your room and get this Wanderlust to make music, and you just want to record the music on the continents, or you also want to just get inspired from the continent, and also so what you want to do with the music?
It's usually getting inspired by it. So for instance, for South America, I traveled there to see my best friend, and I accumulated a lot of experiences and even like some heartache and things like this, and that all made it onto this album. But then a place like Antarctica, and I've written a bunch of songs, but I've never set foot on the continent. So a lot of it is about my imagination and imagining the place. And then, it brings in a lot of personal experience. It's not necessarily set on the continent always, if that makes sense. It's just kind of based around maybe a feeling. Like I imagine that Cape, the Antarctic Peninsula, I imagine that it might be, fun in the summertime, but I don't know. So it's all just imagination. It's all bullshit.
And who are inspiring you? Do you have any musical role models?
Oh yes, I do. Okay, we all got to do this one.
I don't know if I feel like mine maybe are a little bit different than our... I don't know. I grew up on like classic rock stuff, like Beatles and Zeppelin and stuff like that. But it doesn't really come through in our music that much. Like I think it's definitely a lot more contemporary than on that sound. But that's like the stuff that I grew up listening to. But this is a bit different than I think the influences of these two, which is interesting.
Definitely Sigur Rós and Led Zeppelin also, and Modest Mouse, and yeah, some of those like just standard indie rock bands have gone a long way, but also a lot of newer bands lately, like Officer Jenny in Utah and Batmanners and some of those things. So.
And then I love Billy Joel.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I think it's an interesting mixture of you three. So how you two get with Kyle? How it just, because how I understand it was Kyle's idea to make this music on the continent. So how you three get just together?
So Kyle and I happened to be in the same record store in our former hometown at the same time, and he was talking to someone about a particular CD that I knew about, so I gave him what I thought about it to try to help him decide, and he immediately asked if I wanted to join a band, so I said yeah, and tried it out, and it was good, and I don't know, it was important for me the whole time that it was music that I might listen to if I weren't in the band, and that I actually really enjoyed what we were doing, and that's kept growing even more. Now I like the newer music more than ever, and then we had a few different iterations of the band besides these three, but Max was brought into the band through a friend Kevin Herman, and he's one of my friends from university, and he's Max's cousin, so he connected us when we were looking for a drummer.
Can I ask a question to Max? Just take over this interview.
Yeah.
What did you think? What was your
Kyle?
first impression of us when you first met us? I've never asked you this.
Kind of a bunch of squares.
Yeah, whatever. Delete that.
Yeah, we'll delete that.
We cut it out.
Yeah. No, I love the music, and it was really hard to play, which I really loved. Some of the drum parts that that Chris wrote are like so insane. And I was just thinking like, man, this is a lot of fun, and it's really hard, and it's like one way to get better at playing music is to play shit that's really hard to play. So I was like, this guy Chris can write some crazy parts, and I went down and auditioned and could barely, I was like fumbling through the songs, but I guess I did well enough to get in, so that's nice, but it was cool.
So now we have you three together, I think. It's a good combo, or not combo, three. Trio, thank you. So I think it's a typical question because your band name is The Anatomy of Frank, and but I found on the internet that Frank, I just must read it, is an elegant mustache and with a sex appeal guy. So I thought, okay, but what is the anatomy with what is so unnormal, unusual from Frank? Maybe you just can tell me something about it.
Do you have something in mind?
I have something in mind. So Frank started out as this character, and he's beautiful, he's wonderful, he's kind of the person that everyone wants to be. And over time, it's kind of evolved into Frank he's a human, and the anatomy of him is kind of like studying almost the human experience, like dissecting the human experience. And I think that's kind of what our music has turned into. It's a lot more introspective, and it kind of dives into some almost confessional feelings, things like this. So that's what it means to me now. Is it's almost like a dissection of the human experience.
I have a question. If you could be one age for the rest of your life, what age would it be?
Oh, I'm a really nostalgic person, so this is dangerous. I like 30. I like 30.
30?
30 is good. Yeah, because I can still do stuff, but I know more. When I was young, I was kind of useless. I had a lot of ideas and going in a lot of different directions, and now I feel like I know more what I'm doing. 30.
30. And what about you?
At this point, I'd say 25, maybe around my current age. Just feels like the world is yours to do anything with. Well, it's still wide open. Feels like you can do anything you want.
Maybe like 10, because I peaked really early. So, no, I'd probably say like 21. It just seems like a fun age. You can do all the naughty things when you're 21. Well, maybe 23, because is it 23 or 25 to rent a car?
25.
25. I feel like you have to say 25 because you got to be able to do all the stuff legally.
Yeah.
So
But
25.
I mean, in Germany, the age of that stuff is like 13.
Right.
So
So yeah, I don't know.
So 16,
Yeah.
18, I think.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 10 to 25.
Yeah.
You know, solid ages.
Someday you just want to be 10, the other
Exactly.
day you just want to be 25. I can live with that.
Yeah, right.
That's okay for me. So on your new album cover, there are some black dots, and I was looking on this cover, South America, and I was thinking what it is and what it is for you. Is it a guy on a I would say on a cow, but on a horse, excuse me. But what it is for you? Maybe you just have an idea.
I would love to hear everyone's interpretation of it.
I didn't even know that it was up for interpretation, because to me it was just always kind of like a lone ranger, for lack of a better term. I mean, to Americanize it, just kind of peering off maybe over a cliff or something. But that's kind of really all I see. But it was done by like a really, really amazing artist, and maybe he had something totally different in mind, for all I know.
Yeah, I see just a man standing in the distance, a figure, sort of Steely Danify, the gaucho. He's just kind of got this sort of lonely but stoic look to him. It's just silhouetted, and it's done by Viteri, a really fantastic and well-regarded painter from Ecuador.
And to me, when I first saw this painting, it really spoke to me because the actual frame of it is very big. It's a huge canvas, and he's just down in the bottom of it. And so it felt very lonely, and it felt very solitary and introspective. But one thing that's amazing, we actually know the artist, and he was telling me that the guy's actually riding a horse. And I thought he was just standing there, and this little piece was a robe hanging down. But it didn't change it for me, because that's my interpretation of it, and I think it looks very lonely. And I think the album deals a lot with loneliness, so yeah.
But I think he also looks that he has a point where you just want to go. He knows where you just want to go.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a question what I want to just ask you what you think about this. So I think we just have few more questions. So your next album, what continent is it about? You yet know it about, or you don't want to tell us?
Europe. That's like the most
Probably.
logistically plausible next album. I think it's probably going to be also maybe the easier one. Maybe even easier than doing South America.
Even easier than North America.
Maybe even easier than
we know
North
so many
America.
people now. Yeah, it'll probably be Europe. Australia is one that I'm really excited about too. But yeah, probably Europe.
So we just must wait for the new albums.
That's right.
Okay.
But in this show, you'll hear a song or two songs from Europe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So do you want to just make your question?
What do you take with you on your tour? Do you have,
Good question. This is gonna sound really gross, but on a tour, especially when you're touring overseas, bands have to find ways to like pack a lot of stuff and not be charged for it on the planes. And we do this through a combination of cleverness and just cheating the system. But one way that I found is this tour I'm wearing all wool. So every item of clothing I have, except for this shirt, which I wore especially for this show, everything's wool. And the good thing about wool is it doesn't stink. So you can wear it multiple days in a row if you have to. And you can bring just a few pairs of clothes instead of like 7 or 8. So that's my secret.
And do you have groupies?
I don't want to call anyone a groupie. People get very mad when you call them a groupie. We do have really nice and supportive fans.
Determined fans is a nice way to put it.
And I mean, yeah, it's awesome. And I mean, we've been supported by like multiple people, especially in Europe. Some people come to a lot of different shows, and yeah, makes us happy.
So I have a question. What do you have a ritual before your gig? You just do something together. I hear that some bands just drink a tequila together. Do you just, I don't know. Do you have something?
That would be like the least Anatomy of Frank thing of all time, is taking a tequila shot before the show. No, maybe like sip on some tea. Very mellow. I mean, I don't know if that we have any... Play foosball. I don't know that we have any pre-show rituals. Sometimes we warm up the vocals, you know, depending on how we feel, and I don't know. I think that we used to do it more, but I think maybe as we've been playing more and more shows, there's like less ritual involved. Yeah. I think we used to do like little dances and stuff backstage.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in a long time.
It's kind of true. I think, well, I know me personally, I have to get into a certain space before a show, so I kind of be alone and run through the set list in my head and then go on stage and kind of in the zone.
So thank you for the interview. Maybe you just want to tell us something on your heart, is something just laying that you just want to say us now for the internet.
Yes. I think humanity is going through a bit of a hard time right now, but I think it's a learning experience and we're all going to be better off in the end. That's what I think.
Be happy.
Cynicism is overrated.
So our last question was, maybe if you
I have a last question. Are you a handshake or a high five?
I'm a hugger.
Great. Thank you.
And you two?
Yeah, sure.
High five.
Also a hug.
We can all hug. We can all hug.
Jimmy, you also a hug or a high five, a handshake?
High five.
Okay, so I also want to. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week. You're welcome. Thanks.